The old cargo ship Star Wanderer limped into port like a wounded animal. It tall, covered in patches of mismatched metal, reflected the starlight in different shades of gray. As it approached the docking bay of Centauri Station, several sleek vessels moved away, their captains not wanting their beautiful ships anywhere near what they saw as space junk. Inside the ship's bridge, Captain Tom Rogers watched the docking lights with tired eyes. At 32, he was young for a cargo ship captain, but the past 6 months had aged him considerably. He had inherited the Star Wanderer from his Uncle Jack, along with a mountain of debt that seemed to grow bigger with each passing day. Primary docking thrusters failing again, called out Blue from the pilot's seat. The alien's four-fingered hands danced across the controls, compensating for the failing systems. Like his name, his skin had a pale blue tint that seemed to shimmer under the bridge's harsh lighting. Switching to backup systems. "How bad is it this time?" Tom asked, already knowing the answer wouldn't be good. "Worse than last week, better than tomorrow will be," Blue replied with what passed for a smile among his species. He had served as first officer on the Star Wanderer for 15 years, staying on even after Tom's uncle passed away. His loyalty meant everything to Tom, especially since most alien crew members would have jumped ship long ago. The ship shuddered as Blue engaged the backup thrusters. From somewhere deep in the engine room, a loud bang echoed through the hull, followed by a string of creative cursing in multiple languages. "Red's fixing it," Blue announced unnecessarily. Their engineer, nicknamed for his crimson scales, had an almost magical touch with the ship's systems. Even though the Star Wanderer was held together with spare parts and prayers, Red somehow kept it flying. The ship's communications panel crackled to life. "Cargo vessel Star Wanderer, this is Centauri Station Control. Please use docking bay 17, the one near the waste management facility." Tom noticed the barely hidden amusement in the controller's voice. It was always the same story. They got the worst docking spots, the lowest priority for services, and the most contemptuous treatment from station personnel. The Star Wanderer's reputation preceded it at every port. "Acknowledged control," Tom replied, keeping his voice professional despite the insult. Proceeding to Bay 17. As they maneuvered toward their assigned bay, a sleek passenger liner passed nearby. Its hull gleamed with the latest adaptive camouflage coating, and its engine signature was barely a whisper compared to the Star Wanderer's rattling roar. Tom saw several passengers pointing and laughing through the liner's observation windows. "Don't let them get to you, Captain," Blue said quietly. "They don't understand that it's not the shine of the hull that matters, but the strength of the crew inside it." Tom nodded, grateful for Blue's words, but still feeling the sting of embarrassment. The Star Wanderer might be ugly, but it was his. More importantly, it was all he had left of his Uncle Jack, who had taught him everything he knew about space travel. The ship docked with another shudder and a screech of protesting metal. Red's voice came over the intercom immediately. "That's another stabilizer gone. We've got maybe 3 more docks before the whole assembly needs replacing." "Add it to the list," Tom sighed. The list of needed repairs was already longer than their current cargo manifest. "Speaking of cargo, what's our delivery schedule looking like, Blue?" The first officer pulled up a holographic display, its image flickering unstably. "We've got industrial replicator parts for the mining colony on Proxima B. They're paying well, but—" he hesitated. "But what?" "But they specifically requested fast delivery. Their production line is down until they get these parts." Tom ran a hand through his hair in frustration. The Star Wanderer was many things, but fast wasn't one of them. "How long do they expect delivery to take?" 3 days standard time." 3 days. Tom almost laughed. "In this ship, we'd need a miracle. Or a really good engineer." Red's voice came through the intercom again. The engineer had obviously been listening in. "I might be able to coax a little more power from the engines, but we'll need parts. Good ones this time, not the recycled junk we've been using." Tom checked their accounts on his tablet. The numbers that stared back at him were not encouraging. They had barely enough credits to fuel up, let alone buy quality parts. But if they didn't make this delivery on time, they'd lose not only their payment, but also their reputation for reliability. The one thing they had going for them. "How much do we need for parts?" he asked Red. 5,000 credits minimum. And that's if we can find a dealer willing to sell to us. 5,000 credits they didn't have. Tom closed his eyes, remembering his uncle's words. "Space finds a way to test you, boy. The trick is to be stubborn enough to pass those tests." A commotion outside drew their attention. Through the viewport, they could see a group of dock workers pointing at their ship and laughing. One of them was making exaggerated coughing gestures, mocking the Star Wanderer's sputtering engines. "Permission to go out there and educate them about respect?" Red asked, only half joking. His species was known for their physical prowess, and even dock workers knew better than to anger a crimson-scaled engineer. "Denied," Tom said firmly. "We can't afford any trouble." He stood up from his captain's chair, straightening his worn uniform jacket. "I'm going to see if I can negotiate with the parts dealers. Maybe someone will extend us credit based on this delivery contract." Blue looked concerned. "The last 3 dealers we talked to said they'd rather sell to space pirates than risk not getting paid." "Then I'll find a 4th dealer," Tom said with more confidence than he felt. "Keep working on the ship. We've got 3 days to do the impossible." As he walked through the ship's corridors toward the airlock, Tom's hand brushed against the lucky coin in his pocket. Another inheritance from his uncle. The metal was worn smooth from years of nervous handling. He pulled it out and looked at it, remembering how his uncle would flip it before making big decisions. "What would you do, Uncle Jack?" he whispered to himself. "How did you keep this old girl flying when everything was against you?" The coin, naturally, didn't answer. But as Tom stepped out onto the station's deck, he held his head high. The Star Wanderer might be a joke to others, but it was his joke, his responsibility, his home. And somehow he would find a way to keep her flying, just like his uncle had done for all those years. He just hoped he could figure out how before their luck, their credit, and their time ran out. Tom trudged back to the Star Wanderer after 4 hours of rejected credit applications and mockery from parts dealers. His boots dragged against the station's metal floor, each step heavier than the last. The lucky coin felt like a dead weight in his pocket. As he approached his ship's airlock, he noticed something odd. The access panel beside the door was open, revealing old wiring that shouldn't have been there. Modern ships used crystal matrices for their control systems, not copper wiring. "Red," he called out, expecting their engineer to appear and explain whatever repair work was happening now. No answer came. Tom touched the ancient keypad, another outdated feature, and the airlock slid open with a hiss. The corridor beyond was dimly lit, emergency lights casting long shadows on the walls. Power must be down again, he thought. But something wasn't right. The shadows moved differently, and there was a smell in the air, old oil and metal, like a mechanic's workshop. Tom had walked these corridors hundreds of times, but now they felt different, almost alive with hidden purpose. He followed his nose, letting the unfamiliar scent guide him. It led him to a section of wall panels near the cargo hold that he passed by countless times before. But now, in the emergency lighting, he noticed faint wear marks on the floor, scratches that suggested this panel had been moved many times. Tom ran his fingers along the edge of the panel. There, a slight catch, almost invisible unless you were looking for it. He pressed, and with a soft click, the panel swung open like a door. Behind it was a workshop, not just any workshop, but one that looked like it had been stolen from Earth's Industrial Revolution and shot into space. Old mechanical tools hung on the walls alongside holographic diagnostic equipment. Workbenches were covered with half-finished projects combining ancient human technology with modern alien components. "I see you found it." Blue's voice came from behind him, making Tom jump. The first officer stood in the doorway, looking both relieved and anxious. "Your uncle made us promise not to show you until you were ready." Ready for what? Tom asked, picking up what looked like a steam engine piston with crystalline modifications. Ready to understand that sometimes the old ways are the best ways. Red's voice joined them. The engineer ducked through the doorway, his crimson scales reflecting the workshop's lights. Jack, your uncle. He had ideas. Good ones. Ideas that the big shipping companies were too proud to consider. Tom looked around the workshop with new eyes. He built all this. Built it. He revolutionized it, Red said, moving to one of the workbenches. Look at this. He picked up what appeared to be a simple mechanical governor, the kind used in old steam engines. But inside its brass housing, Tom could see the shimmer of quantum stabilizers. Your uncle figured out that mechanical systems, when properly combined with modern tech, could do things pure quantum systems can't. Blue stepped forward, touching a large blueprint spread across one table. He called it hybrid engineering, taking the best of human mechanical ingenuity and combining it with alien advancements. The big companies, they think newer is always better. But your uncle knew better. Tom's mind was racing. Is that how he kept the Star Wanderer flying all those years? With hybrid systems? Red nodded. Some of them. He was still testing his ideas, improving them. He wanted to prove that human engineering had value, that sometimes the simple solution is the best solution. The engineer's eyes gleamed. And now, with this delivery deadline, we could use his designs. Tom finished the thought. But why didn't you tell me about this before? Blue and Red exchanged looks. Your uncle left specific instructions. Blue explained. He said you needed to understand the problem before you could appreciate the solution. To feel the weight of running a ship in a universe that looks down on human technology. Tom picked up a journal from one of the workbenches, its pages filled with his uncle's familiar handwriting. Diagrams and calculations covered every available space, showing innovative ways to combine old Earth technology with alien advancements. He was working on something big near the end, Red said quietly. A way to use mechanical principles to stabilize quantum fields. The big companies spend millions on pure quantum solutions, but your uncle thought he could do it with modified steam engine governors and some clever engineering. Tom flipped through the journal, his excitement growing. Can we build it? We already have most of the parts, Red admitted. Your uncle collected them over years. We just need a few key components, standard ones that won't raise suspicion. Components we can't afford, Tom reminded them, his brief hope deflating. Blue smiled, an expression that still looked slightly unsettling on his alien features. Actually, we can. Your uncle left a small fund for parts, hidden away. Not enough to fix the ship the traditional way, but enough to build his hybrid systems. Why didn't you mention this fund before? It came with the same conditions as the workshop, Red explained. We couldn't tell you until you found this place on your own. Jack was very specific about that. Tom looked around the workshop again, seeing it with new understanding. This wasn't just a collection of parts and tools. It was his uncle's legacy, a way to prove that human innovation still had value in a universe of quantum computers and AI systems. How long would it take to install the first system? He asked. Red's scales rippled with excitement. The power stabilization system is almost ready. Give me 6 hours, and I can have it running. Won't look pretty from the outside, but it'll work better than anything the shiny ships out there are using. Blue finished. Tom picked up his uncle's lucky coin and flipped it, catching it with a smile. Then let's get to work. We've got a delivery to make, and I think it's time the universe learned not to judge a ship by its hull plates. For the next several hours, the three of them worked non-stop in the hidden workshop. Tom read through his uncle's notes while Red and Blue assembled the hybrid power system. It was beautiful in its simplicity, using mechanical governors to provide a physical backup to the quantum field generators. If the quantum systems fluctuated, the mechanical components would automatically compensate, providing a stability that pure quantum systems couldn't match. As they worked, Tom began to understand why his uncle had kept this hidden. It wasn't just about proving a point. It was about showing that sometimes progress means looking backward to move forward. The shipping companies had become so focused on the latest technology that they'd forgotten the reliable simplicity of mechanical systems. The Star Wanderer might be old, ugly, and patched together, but soon it would have something no other ship had, the perfect blend of human mechanical ingenuity and alien quantum technology. And Tom had a feeling that their next cargo run was going to surprise a lot of people. The Star Wanderer pulled away from Centauri Station with a smoothness that surprised even its crew. Gone was the usual shuddering and rattling. Instead, the ship hummed with a deep, steady power that seemed impossible for such an old vessel. Power output is 30% above normal, but somehow we're using less fuel, Blue reported from his station, his fingers dancing across the control panel. The hybrid governor system is working better than we expected. Tom smiled as he watched the station's massive form shrink behind them. Several dock workers who had gathered to watch their departure, likely expecting another embarrassing display, stood with their mouths open as the Star Wanderer glided gracefully into open space. "Red, how's the engine room looking?" Tom called over the intercom. "It's beautiful, Captain." Red's voice came back, filled with genuine joy. "The mechanical governors are dancing with the quantum fields like partners in a ballet. Your uncle was a genius. The vibration dampening alone is." A warning light suddenly flashed on the command console, cutting Red off. "Incoming scan," Blue announced, his tone shifting from excited to concerned. "It's the Stellar Coalition patrol ship Vigilant." Tom's grip tightened on his armrest. The Stellar Coalition was the governing body for interstellar commerce, and they took a dim view of unauthorized ship modifications. "Are they hailing us?" "Not yet. But wait, now they are." A holographic screen materialized in front of them, showing the stern face of a coalition officer. His uniform was pristine, and his expression suggested he'd just smelled something unpleasant. "Cargo vessel Star Wanderer. This is Commander Wells of the Stellar Coalition. Our sensors are detecting unusual energy signatures from your vessel. Prepare for boarding and inspection." Tom kept his face neutral. "Commander, we're on a time-critical delivery run to Proxima B. Perhaps we could schedule an inspection for our return journey." "Your delivery schedule is not my concern," Wells replied coldly. "Our sensors show energy patterns that don't match your ship's registered configuration. That could indicate illegal modifications or—" He paused for effect. "Safety violations." Blue muted the transmission for a moment. "Captain, if they board us and find the workshop." Tom nodded. The Coalition was notorious for impounding ships that didn't meet their exacting standards, and a hidden workshop full of hybrid technology would definitely not meet their standards. He unmuted the transmission. "Commander, I assure you our ship is safe. We've simply performed some routine maintenance." "Routine maintenance doesn't produce quantum field variations like these," Wells interrupted. "You will power down your engines and prepare for boarding." "That's not a request." The transmission cut off. Tom immediately hit the intercom. "Red, how fast can you hide the workshop?" "Hide it?" "Captain, there are components integrated throughout the ship now. Even if we seal the workshop, their scanners will detect the hybrid systems." Tom thought quickly. They couldn't outrun a Coalition patrol ship, even with their improvements. The Star Wanderer wasn't built for speed. They couldn't fight. They couldn't hide the modifications. That left. "Blue, what's between us and the Proxima B colony?" The first officer checked his charts. "The Sigma Cloud, a dense region of charged particles and space debris. Most ships go around it because it interferes with quantum navigation systems. But our hybrid systems use mechanical backup components," Tom said, an idea forming. "Red, would our new stabilizers work in the cloud?" There was a pause as the engineer considered it. "Theoretically, yes. The mechanical governors should keep working even if the quantum fields get disrupted. But Captain, flying through the Sigma Cloud is incredibly dangerous. One wrong move, and less dangerous than letting the Coalition impound our ship," Tom decided. Blue, plot a course through the cloud. Red, give us everything the new systems can handle. The coalition ship was growing larger in their rear viewers. They're charging weapons, Blue reported. Non-lethal, but they could disable us. Take us in, Tom ordered. Let's see if they're willing to follow. The Star Wanderer banked hard, its new systems responding beautifully to Blue's commands. They accelerated toward the massive purple-gray mass of the Sigma cloud, which roiled with electrical discharges and swirling debris. They're firing warning shots, Blue announced as bright energy pulses flashed past their hull. And yes, they're pursuing. But they're falling behind. Their quantum drives are already starting to struggle with the cloud's interference. The first wisps of the cloud enveloped their ship. Static filled their communications, and the holographic displays flickered wildly. But underneath all the electronic chaos, Tom could feel the steady throb of the mechanical systems doing their work. Red, status. He called out. Quantum systems are going crazy, but the mechanical governors are compensating perfectly. The backup steam pressure system is handling the power distribution. Captain, this is incredible. We're actually running more efficiently in here. Through the viewports, they could see the cloud's full fury. Debris ranging from dust to boulder-sized chunks of rock swirled around them. Electrical discharges larger than their ship crackled through the void. Their sensors were nearly useless, but Blue navigated skillfully using the old-fashioned optical telescopes Tom's uncle had insisted on keeping. Coalition ship is turning back, Blue reported with satisfaction. Their quantum systems can't handle the interference, but we've got another problem. This route will take us straight through the densest part of the cloud. Can we handle it? Red's voice came back confident. The hybrid systems are performing better than anything I have ever seen. The mechanical components are actually using the cloud's energy to boost our power output. Your uncle thought of everything, Captain. For the next 2 hours, they threaded their way through the Sigma cloud. While other ships would have been blind and helpless in the electromagnetic storm, the Star Wanderer's hybrid systems turned the hostile environment to their advantage. The mechanical governors stabilized their quantum fields, the steam backup systems provided steady power, and the optical navigation allowed them to plot a safe course. When they finally emerged from the other side of the cloud, Tom checked their position. Blue, what's our status? The first officer's fingers flew over his console. We're, Captain, this is amazing. The route through the cloud cut our journey time in half. We're going to make our delivery deadline with time to spare. And we've used only a quarter of our normal fuel, Red added. The cloud's energy helped power our systems through most of the journey. Tom sat back in his chair, feeling a mixture of pride and gratitude toward his uncle. The old man hadn't just left them a few clever modifications. He'd given them a whole new way of operating, one that turned their ship's supposed weaknesses into strengths. The coalition will be waiting for us when we return, Blue reminded him. Let them wait, Tom replied. By then, we'll have proven that our hybrid systems aren't just safe, they're better than anything they've got. My uncle knew that sometimes you have to break the rules to show people a better way. As if in agreement, the Star Wanderer's engines hummed contentedly, old and new technologies working together in perfect harmony as they approached their destination. The ship that had been a laughingstock was about to become a pioneer, and Tom couldn't wait to see the looks on everyone's faces when they realized what human ingenuity could really do. The Star Wanderer's arrival at Proxima B's orbital station caused quite a stir. Not only had they made the journey in record time, but their ship was running more efficiently than anyone thought possible. The mining colony's engineers couldn't stop staring at their engine readings, and whispers spread quickly through the station. As Tom supervised the unloading of the replicator parts, a loud alarm suddenly blared through the station. Red lights flashed, and the station's AI announced, "Emergency alert. Major solar flare detected. All ships must evacuate immediately. Station shields engaging in 5 minutes." The docking bay erupted into chaos. Crew members from various ships ran to their vessels, while dock workers rushed to secure loose cargo. Through the station's massive viewports, Tom could see the star Proxima Centauri pulsing angrily, its surface writhing with unprecedented activity. "Captain," Blue called from the ship's ramp. "The station's quantum sensors are showing this is going to be the largest solar flare they've ever recorded. We need to leave now." But Tom noticed something that made his blood run cold. In the bay next to theirs, a passenger liner was experiencing engine problems. Its quantum drive had been partially disassembled for maintenance when the alert sounded. Over 300 people were trapped on that ship. "Blue, how long until the flare hits?" 20 minutes at most. The station's shields might hold, but any ship caught outside them when they go up. He didn't need to finish the sentence. They'd be fried. Tom made a quick decision. "Get our hybrid shields online." "Red." The engineer was already rushing toward them. "Captain, remember those shield modifications in my uncle's journal? The ones that combine old-style electromagnetic deflectors with quantum barriers?" Red's scales rippled with excitement. "The ones he designed but never got to test. Captain, they're completely experimental. We don't even know if they'll work." "We're about to find out," Tom said, pointing to the stranded passenger liner. "Can we extend our shield bubble to protect them?" Red's eyes widened as he did quick calculations in his head. "Maybe. The mechanical components should handle the extra load better than pure quantum shields, but we'll need to modify the emitter array right now." "Do it," Tom ordered, then turned to Blue. "Get over there and help them secure their ship for towing. We're taking them with us." As his crew rushed to their tasks, Tom ran to the station's control room. The controllers looked up in surprise as he burst in. "We need emergency towing clearance," he announced. "The Star Wanderer can protect that passenger liner." The head controller, a tall woman with graying hair, looked at him like he was crazy. "Your rust bucket. It can barely protect itself. We have emergency protocols for situations like this." "Your protocols won't save those people in time," Tom interrupted. "Trust me. Our ship can handle this." She studied him for a long moment, then looked at her displays showing the approaching flare. "If you're wrong, you'll kill everyone on both ships. If I'm right, we'll save 300 lives." She pressed her lips together, then nodded sharply. "Granted. But their deaths will be on your head if this fails." Tom ran back to his ship, where Red had already modified their shield emitters. The passenger liner was now attached to them with emergency towing cables, its crew and passengers watching nervously through their viewports. "Shield modifications complete," Red reported. "I've integrated the mechanical backup systems. They'll kick in if the quantum barriers start to fail." "Time to flare impact?" Tom asked as he dropped into the captain's chair. 12 minutes, Blue replied. "Station shields going up in 3 minutes. We need to clear the bay now." Tom hit the ship-to-ship comm. "Passenger liner Valley Forge. This is Captain Rogers. Secure all loose items and brace for emergency acceleration. We're getting you out of here." The Star Wanderer's engines roared to life, their hybrid systems handling the extra load of towing the larger ship. They cleared the station's docking bay just as its massive shields began to engage, sealing the station in a protective bubble. "Flare approaching fast," Blue reported. "Energy readings are off the scale. Normal quantum shields won't stand a chance against this." "Red, route all available power to the hybrid shield system," Tom ordered. "Blue, get us into position with our stern facing the flare. We'll take the brunt of it." The passenger liner's captain came on the comm. "Captain Rogers, our sensors show this flare will overwhelm any known shielding. We should try to reach the station before their shields." "No time," Tom cut him off. "Trust us. Our shields are different." The first wave of the solar flare reached them, making both ships shudder. Warning lights flashed across every console as the quantum portions of their shields began to overload. "Quantum barriers failing," Red shouted. "Activating mechanical backup now." Tom felt the ship vibrate as ancient electromagnetic deflectors powered up, their fields reinforcing the failing quantum barriers. His uncle's design was elegant in its simplicity. When the quantum fields fluctuated, the mechanical systems automatically adjusted to fill the gaps. The main wave of the flare hit them like a hammer. The Star Wanderer groaned as forces beyond imagination battered its hybrid shields. On the main viewer, they could see other ships in the distance desperately trying to outrun the flare. Not all of them would make it. "Shield status," Tom called out. "Quantum barriers at 20% and falling," Red reported. "But the mechanical systems are actually getting stronger. They're using the flare's own electromagnetic energy to reinforce themselves. It's working exactly like your uncle predicted." The ship shook violently as the flare reached its peak. Warning klaxons blared, and systems screamed in protest. But through it all, Tom could feel the steady thrum of the mechanical systems doing their job, protecting not only their ship but the hundreds of lives depending on them. "Valley Forge status," Tom called over the comm. We're holding," their captain replied, disbelief clear in his voice. "Your shields are protecting us. But how? This is impossible." Tom smiled, thinking of his uncle. Not impossible, just a different way of thinking about the problem. For 5 more minutes, they rode out the solar storm. When it finally passed, the Star Wanderer's hybrid shields had held firm. The passenger liner was completely untouched, protected by their bubble of combined quantum and mechanical energy. "Damage report?" Tom asked. "Minimal," Red replied proudly. "The hybrid systems performed perfectly. Your uncle's design. Captain, this changes everything. No other ship could have survived that flare, let alone protected another vessel." Messages were already pouring in from the station and other ships. How had they done it? What kind of technology were they using? Even the Stellar Coalition vessels that had survived the flare were demanding answers. Tom opened a channel to respond, but paused as his hand touched his uncle's lucky coin. The old man had known this day would come. The day when people would finally see that progress didn't always mean throwing away the old ways. Sometimes it meant finding the perfect balance between past and future. "Tell them we're coming back to the station," he said finally. "And let them know that the Star Wanderer is ready to teach them a few things about how humans build ships." 3 days after the solar flare incident, the Star Wanderer's docking bay at Proxima B's station was crowded with more visitors than it had seen in years. Engineers, ship captains, and even Stellar Coalition officials crowded around as Red explained the basics of their hybrid systems. "The key is not replacing quantum technology, but complementing it," the engineer explained, his crimson scales gleaming under the bright lights. "Mechanical systems provide a reliable backup that can actually get stronger under conditions that make quantum systems fail." Tom watched from the corner, feeling a mix of pride and amusement as the same people who had mocked his ship now took furious notes. The Valley Forge's captain stood nearby, still shaking his head in amazement. 312 people, the passenger liner's captain said quietly. "That's how many souls you saved with your outdated technology. The Coalition's preliminary report says that flare would have burned through standard quantum shields in seconds." "We just got lucky," Tom replied modestly, but the other captain shook his head. "No, you were prepared. While the rest of us were chasing the latest quantum innovations, you and your uncle were thinking differently. Speaking of which," he gestured toward the back of the crowd, where Commander Wells from the Coalition patrol ship Vigilant was approaching. The commander's normally pristine uniform showed signs of wear. His ship had barely escaped the flare's edge, even with its top-of-the-line shields. "Captain Rogers," Wells said, his voice carefully neutral. "The Coalition has reviewed your hybrid technology designs. We owe you and your crew an apology." And he seemed to struggle with the next words. "We would like to offer you a contract." Tom raised an eyebrow. "A contract? To implement your hybrid systems across the Coalition fleet. The solar flare proved that our current defense systems have limitations. Your uncle's designs could save countless lives." Wells handed over a data tablet. The Coalition is prepared to offer full legal recognition of your patents, plus a substantial fee for installation and training. Tom glanced at the number on the tablet and tried not to let his shock show. It was enough to not only clear the Star Wanderer's debts, but to upgrade the entire ship. Still, "I'll need some guarantees," Tom said. "This technology stays open source. Any ship that needs it gets it, not just the ones who can afford premium prices." Wells frowned. "Captain, this innovation could be worth billions." "It's worth more as a solution that everyone can use," Tom interrupted. "That's what my uncle would have wanted. We're not looking to get rich. We want to make space travel safer for everyone." The commander studied him for a long moment, then nodded slowly. "I'll take your terms back to the Coalition board, but given what happened with the Valley Forge, I think they'll agree. We can't ignore the fact that your outdated ship saved hundreds of lives when our most advanced vessels couldn't." As Wells walked away, Blue approached with another piece of news. "Captain, you might want to see this." He held up his tablet, showing a message from the Proxima B mining colony. "They want to contract us as their primary cargo hauler. Apparently, a ship that can navigate the Sigma Cloud and survive solar flares is exactly what they need." Tom smiled. The Star Wanderer had gone from being a laughingstock to a trendsetter in less than a week. But there was one more thing he needed to do. He made his way to the hidden workshop, now not so hidden anymore. The space had been cleaned up and organized, with his uncle's journals carefully preserved. Tom pulled out the lucky coin and placed it on the main workbench. "You were right, Uncle Jack," he said softly. "Sometimes the old ways are the best ways, and sometimes the best way forward is to remember where we came from." Red and Blue found him there a few minutes later. "Captain," Red said excitedly, "I've been reviewing more of your uncle's journals. The shield modifications were just the beginning. He had designs for hybrid navigation systems, propulsion improvements, even artificial gravity generators using mechanical principles. How long would it take to implement them?" Tom asked. "With the Coalition contract money and our new cargo hauling jobs." Red's scales rippled with excitement. "We could refit the entire ship, make her into something completely new, while keeping everything that makes her special." "The Star Wanderer 2.0, Blue suggested. "A ship that honors both the past and the future." Tom picked up one of his uncle's journals, feeling the worn cover under his fingers. "No," he said. "She'll keep her old name, but she'll have a new mission. We're going to prove that sometimes the best technology isn't about replacing the old with the new. It's about finding the strength in both." Over the next few months, the Star Wanderer became the template for a new class of hybrid ships. Her once mocked appearance became a badge of pride as more vessels adopted similar modifications. The Stellar Coalition officially recognized hybrid technology as a major breakthrough in space travel, and shipping companies began exploring ways to integrate mechanical backups into their quantum systems. But more importantly, the Star Wanderer's success changed how people thought about progress. The ship that had been ridiculed for its outdated systems had shown that innovation didn't always mean abandoning the past. Sometimes, the most powerful solutions came from understanding and respecting the engineering principles that had served humanity for generations. Tom kept his uncle's workshop exactly as it was, though now it served as both a museum and a classroom where engineers from across the galaxy came to learn about hybrid technology. The lucky coin remained on the workbench, a reminder that sometimes the best luck comes from believing in yourself when nobody else will. And if you visited any major spaceport, you might notice something interesting. Among the sleek, modern ships with their gleaming quantum drives, you'd see vessels proudly displaying patches of mismatched hull plating and mechanical components alongside their advanced systems. They called it the Wanderer style, a testament to the day when an old cargo hauler and its human captain taught the galaxy that true progress means never forgetting where you came from. As for the Star Wanderer herself, well, she still wasn't the prettiest ship in space. Her hull still bore the marks of countless repairs, and her engine still made strange noises sometimes. But now, when people pointed at her in spaceports, it wasn't to mock. It was to admire. Because everyone knew that beneath her humble exterior lay the perfect blend of human ingenuity and alien technology, a combination that had changed space travel forever. And that was worth more than all the shiny quantum drives in the galaxy.